what they can do. So we'll go from there. What do you got question-wise?
Justin?
Hey, Matt, I know how much you value consistency, but when you're coming off across-the-board letdown like Sunday, does something in your weekly preparation need to change? And if so, what's like the first thing you're really looking hard at this week as you're getting prepped for this Arizona matchup?
Yeah, great question. I definitely always look at myself and what I have to do to prepare the team better and things that I can do. And there's certainly things in there that I like to change up when we have weeks like this, whether it's in the team meetings, maybe it's individually in some of the position rooms, or, in either of the three phases where from a meeting room standpoint, I might have a little bit of a different point of emphasis. I might put a little bit more pressure in the meeting rooms to understand the information ahead of time. And then obviously when we get out on the practice field, making sure that the level of urgency and the execution on the practice field is at the highest level. We got to go out and we got to work today and we got to get some things fixed. So that's what we're going to do.
One of those points of emphasis has been the waves or the ebbs and flows of the game. You brought it up Sunday. We've heard it from a couple of players and your assistant coaches. This is year 3, Matt, and a lot of this roster's turned over, and I think made in your image is safe to say. Are you surprised that this roster is struggling with that element of the game, that the ebbs and flows, the mental part of it?
You know what? I mean, I don't think I'm surprised because I think that we've played 2 games together. Just with the amount of limited time that we've had as a team to be together, if you really think about, the amount of time during the offseason, plus the, phase 1, phase 2, plus phase 3, the amount of work that goes in there, the amount of teaching, the amount of philosophy, smart football, bad football, understanding what we're trying to do that goes into that live and in person is certainly we tried to do the best we could with the virtual world. But then into a condensed training camp, it's going to be this way in September. I think we talked about that before. We need time as a group to work together, and certainly from a team standpoint, where as much as I think we've tried to teach all of the phases, when you get into the actual game and now all 3 phases are actually working together on the field for the first time, or, for this week would be the 3rd time, only the 3rd time, you do understand that, there's going to be some things there that need to be corrected. So, for us, we just got to keep, making the points of emphasis to improve it and to get it better and try not to make the same mistakes. And certainly as we go on, it's a long season in the NFL. Everybody knows that. We've certainly seen teams that have not come out very fast that have finished extremely strong. And we found teams that have come out very fast that haven't finished very well. For us, it's just about us. It's about us trying to get better week in, week out, and understanding that, the opponents we play are going to get better as the season goes. We played a great one last week. We got a great one in front of us. So we got to go out and just have a good week of work.
Thank you as always, Matt.
Yep.
Tim?
Hey, Matt, have you seen a willingness by Kyler to use his legs more than maybe even last year? He was still trying to figure out the NFL and the scheme. It seems like early on, that's really been much more of a weapon in his repertoire than it was, especially early on last season when you guys saw him.
Yeah, I would definitely say you can see the difference between early on last year when we played him and then later in the season and how he kind of matured and grew as a player in the NFL. I think I may have said this before, but somehow I think this guy got faster and quicker and more explosive in the offseason. It's just amazing to watch him in open space. He's a smooth athlete. He can really get to top end acceleration extremely quick. And I think that's what catches a lot of people by surprise. He can just burst and explode. And within 2 steps, he's at full speed. And then he can stop within a step or 2. And I think some of that for quarterback position, you're not necessarily used to it. It's almost like trying to tackle a punt returner, in those sort of space plays that he's able to create. And I think that's one area where I think he just feels a lot more comfortable right now. And you see him do that.
And just a quick follow-up to that, just what does that do for how taxing is that on a defense? We talked to Cliff earlier, and he said he sat down with Kyler and they showed him kind of Russell Wilson tapes and how Russell uses those 4 or 5 plays a game that he uses his legs that are like kind of backbreakers for defense. Just the pressure when you have a guy that can make plays like that from the quarterback position, especially when you play a lot of man defense too, Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's a great example too of something that I used with the players too, with Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray's the same. You may do it right for 58 minutes. You may do it right for 59, but it's that 1 minute that you don't, where he's so dangerous, so explosive that I think players like that just have that feeling to take advantage of those moments. And I think that is a part, like you said, that you just need to be focused the entire game on making sure that you execute the plan at hand and not let those guys take over with their athleticism and turn it into a, we call street ball game, where they can kind of get out in space and run or throw. And obviously his arm strength is another threat when he's out in those kind of situations. So 100%, absolutely.
Thanks, Matt.
Kyle?
Hey, Matt. Just so you know, you were right. I finally watched The Mandalorian. It was very good. I appreciate the recommendation.
Perfect.
We just talked to Cliff, and I asked him about the defense and just what he's seen from an opponent's point of view, and how your defense has changed with Corey. And he said he hasn't seen too many schematic changes or too many changes of what you guys are doing philosophically. So I wanted to ask you what you think is different about your defense this year. What has changed about what you guys are trying to do, either philosophically or schematically?
Well, I mean, obviously I don't want to go into too many details with Cliff, obviously listening, and you guys did a great job of talking to him. If you got any other real good information, that would be helpful from that standpoint. But, there are differences in our defense. I think the biggest thing for us, and obviously the personnel is a little bit different. Some of the players that are out on the field are a little bit different. And I think part of it for us is we're still trying to find out what some of those guys do well and what do they do consistent. And then, the defense always tends to change and morph based on the players that we have out there and how do we put them in the best position possible to make some plays. We're still very, early in that stage with us defensively, and just the consistency is the biggest part of it. But, I would say that there are some changes in there that are a little bit different, and maybe, hopefully some of that isn't that obvious to the eye that's breaking down the film, and some situations that we have that might have been a problem last year maybe are handled a little bit differently, which will help us this year.
I appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Dave?
Hey, Matt, two-part question for you here. I guess I'm wondering what, like way back in the spring, you guys thought you had a better team than last year record-wise, obviously, and you had a high pick and you're going to be able to get some impact talent in the draft. Back then, what was sort of the general expectation, I guess, of how the rookie class might help you guys take a leap forward this year, and been able to do through 2 weeks? Is if there's a discrepancy there, is there enough time since we're in season for that group to give you what you hoped back then?
Yeah. I think I don't really think my philosophy has ever changed on rookie players, ever. I think it's always been the same. And I think even if you go back to conversations when everyone was just getting to know me a little bit, even when we were talking about Kerryon Johnson, there was a lot of conversations early in his rookie year about projections and what is he, going to be and all that stuff. I think, we always keep all that at a very moderate level. We understand that the jump from college to the NFL is different. And, we try to make sure that the expectations of those guys is just going to be to go out and try to do their job at a high level and learn as we go and grow as players. So I don't think any of that's changed, even though in the spring, we feel good about our rookie class or whoever we brought in. We still feel good about those guys. We feel good about the players that are on this team. We just, got to anchor down and improve and, just keep working to get better every single week.
And then housekeeping note, just Joe Dahl's injury kind of popped up, late last week, and he went on IR over the weekend. Is that a surgical thing or a short-term injury with him?
I think we got him on the 3-week IR. So we'll see what that looks like as we go through for him.
Okay. And last housekeeping item, Webb, who you signed today to the practice squad, does he play Kyler Murray in practice for you? How do you use him?
Yeah, Joe Webb's great. He can do a bunch of different things. He is actually a big body guy, and he can play quarterback. He can play receiver, probably play tight end. So we need bodies out there and guys that can give us a good look. So I'm sure whatever we ask him to do, he's going to do.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Mike?
Hey, Matt. Have you... Last year before, you used to meet with Martha every week. Are you still doing that now with Sheila? And what have those meetings been like for you really the last few weeks?
I obviously no surprises here. I meet with the family. I meet with Sheila, and we talk internally about a lot of things every week. So, she's great. She's obviously trying to learn as much as possible, and the communication has been outstanding for me to have her and communicate with her. So it's all been really good, and that's scheduled. Those are scheduled for the entire season. We make sure that, we always kind of come back after a game week and get ready for the next week, that the communication's at a high level. It's obviously a little bit different because of COVID. So, we do it on Zoom or something like that, but that hasn't changed.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Two more, Justin Rose, then Stoney.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Just, I'm kind of wondering off of that talk with the Ford family and whatnot. You talk about time and how you guys, you need time, but do you ever feel like you're running out of time as far as not maybe, grand picture, but at the same time, the season is here. You're already in week 3. I mean, we'll be talking week 4 next week, and the losses can't keep. Do you ever get concerned about just the timing, and do you need like a shock to the system to wake everybody up?
No, I mean, I think for us, we just try to stay consistent every single week. I think a lot of that is, again, that would be the same as riding the ebbs and flows of every single day, which we talk about during the game, no different than stories that are in the media, no different than, people that want to talk about week 2 and week 3 and week 4 and before we even get to week 10. So for us, it's just try to stay consistent and improve. I think that's the biggest thing for us. There's certainly, like I said, a lot of teams in the history of the NFL that have started out not very well, that have finished extremely strong, and teams that have started off really well that finished not very good at all. That's part of the NFL. It's an interesting, difficult season. It's a grind, and obviously the biggest trick to all of it is to try to improve as you go through the year, and and try to get better. So for us, from that standpoint, always just kind of working every day to try to get better. And come in here and be the same person, just like I expect the team to be the same every day, because that's how you really get better.
Just to follow that up, when you say consistency, it's been consistently the same, which is not winning football. So I guess when you say you want to be consistent and whatnot, what aspect are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, we're always judged by the end result, and that's just, what everybody sees for the 3 hours on Sunday, and we know that, but I would say the consistency of what we do for the other 6 days during the week is critically important, when we're working those, 12, 14, 15, however long hours during the day. If you can be that same guy and not be different and, not have anything distract you from that and improve, that's where the consistency comes into effect. And that's really where you get better, as coaches, as players, and as a team. So there's a lot that goes into it. And obviously, the result is what everybody sees, and that's what we know we have to change. But I would say the one thing that is good is, the consistency during the course of the week gives us a chance to do that.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Stoney, last one.
2 things, Matt. Number one, are you confident that your young cornerbacks will be able to handle one of the best receivers in the NFL in Hopkins? And the other thing is there anything, I don't know, telling fans or whatever, defensively that could give us hope that it's going to improve and it's going to be a lot better than where it's been ranked the last couple of years? Because, you see it. I don't have to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, I think let's start with the receiver core. Hopkins is unreal. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. This guy can run every route. He gets open. He's got great hands. He's got great body control. He's a go-to guy for him. And I think that was really a great addition for them on the offensive side of the ball. You can never mention wide receivers with the Arizona Cardinals and not mention Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, this guy is one of the best and has been one of the best for, just such a long, great career. I have the utmost respect for him. I've seen him be able to change, his role to be able to morph into, a different type of player that they need each season, depending on what's important for their offense that year. And it's quite amazing. He's got some amazing stats when you look at it, not only just the yardage and the catches and all that, but this guy has more tackles than he does drops. I mean, this guy's hands are unbelievable. He can catch anything. He's always open. He's big. He's strong. He's physical. He's an unbelievable player. I mean, that's a huge challenge for us, with the players they have in the skill position. They've got a lot of speed on the field. They really have done a great job. Cliff's done a great job of creating a space game. And even now with the quarterback and putting that amount of duress on a defense is, as you can see what they've done the last 2 games. So, certainly that's a big challenge for us. Defensively, obviously not where we want to be. We know that right now. We're working to get that better and improve it. And, from that standpoint, improvement, that's what we're going to do. We got to grind it out. We got to get better. We have some good players. We have young players. We have new players. All those guys got to come together. And defensively, it's very different than the other two phases where, everyone's got to be on the same page and everyone works together and everyone, communication is critical and all of those things on top of fundamentals and technique, which take a long time to work on and make sure that you execute at a high level. So we're going to get better at those and we're going to keep going forward.
So you see light at the end of the tunnel?
I think you have to. Yeah. Okay. I mean, for us, like Stoney, you know me, right? I know. We got to always try to get better. We got to try to improve. And, if you're a person that walks around without seeing light at the end of the tunnel, then, man, that's probably not a good day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate it. Yep. Hope everybody's well. Stay safe.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.